Team better.
Life, brother.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Dallas fans don't know what these are.
Gets it, Saquon Barkley. First down. Barkley. Oh! Saquon. E-A-G-L-E-S-E.
Go Birds, baby!
Welcome back to Under the Wing, and a Merry Christmas to you. It is Christmas Eve today, and it's gonna be a little shorter this time. We're moving the schedule around a little bit. The main 302 Birds podcast, instead of going live tomorrow night, they're going to be going live tonight after the show. So we're starting a little bit earlier. We're going to try to be a little bit shorter tonight, but sometimes we just can't control ourselves. And along with that, we have ourselves a guest with us, the good sir himself, Benny.
What's up, Benny? How you doing tonight? And really quickly, I was told that I have to address this. Happy Festivus. Those of you that are old enough to know what that is. But anyway.
Happy Festivus for the rest of us. What's going on, guys?
Gosh.
How you doing, Benny?
Oh.
Doing great. Thank you guys for making me a part of the show today. This is
Yes,
it's
sir.
going to be awesome. Nice little Christmas Eve show.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, getting ready for the Christmas holiday.
All right.
But
Tell them what we got, Joseph.
got a good one for you this week. We're going to go over Week 16. We're going to check in on the playoff picture and where it stands now. Then all the Week 17 matchups that have influences on the playoffs this week. We're going to kind of go over some of those. And then we're going to dive in to what the Philadelphia Eagles accomplished this weekend, something that hasn't been accomplished since the year I was born, which is incredible. But without further ado, we're going to kick it right off to Week 16 because, boy, it was a great week. And it started off on a Thursday night with what was quite possibly the game of the year.
I feel like every week we say that's the game of the
Exactly.
year. Bills Ravens, game of the year. Eagles Rams, game of the year. Eagles Buccaneers, game of the year. It just happens one after the other. I think the Bengals Browns was a game of the year. There's been so many of these games of the year. I just have to say this. It's so unfortunate that one of those teams had to lose because you just felt like you wanted to watch that game forever. It felt like you were playing Madden, just going up and down the field. Really good defense versus another really good defense versus a really great offense versus another really great offense. It was awesome, and Matt Stafford MVP. I think he pretty much solidified it there.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summary there. I didn't know, so I didn't see live the part where the backwards pass on the 2-point conversion, but watching on the highlight, that was crazy. Never in 100 years could you have drawn that play up to go that way, and it did. It was awesome, action-packed game, and it was just a great kickoff to some great games for this weekend.
It really set the tone. It really set the tone for what was a pretty awesome weekend for football. Weird play. I see a lot of people on Twitter complaining about that, they blew the whistle, it should stop. But it was a backwards pass. It got bobbled around, went forward, and Zach Charbonnet recovered. It's unfortunate that was kind of the way the game ended. It was kind of wild, or at least that was a part of the game, and kind of pushed it to where it was. But you gotta play to the whistle. That's the one thing I think. I think we're going to see this rematch happen again in the playoffs, and I'm excited, man. Seattle's been one of those teams all year that I've kept my eye on, and for where they are, I don't think a lot of people pay attention to them. They're all the way out in the Northeast. There's not really any teams around them. They kind of went under the radar. The biggest move they made was getting Sam Darnold. I think that kind of turned a lot of people off to, they're just going to be a fringe playoff team. But here they are. They're a tough team. They play tough, hard-nosed football. Kenny Walker is an underrated player. And then, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Oh, my God. He might be one of the best, if not the best receiver in the NFL right now.
Yeah, he's a beast. Second game we got to talk about, and we have to make a public announcement or a public apology.
That's not me. That's you two.
So we had Benny on earlier in the year, And me and Benny kind of went off a little bit.
I might have been
Justified,
involved in
unjustified, who knows? Only time will tell, because he hasn't won anything yet. Okay, they haven't even won the division yet. But we might have been a little bit harsh on Caleb Williams and the Bears. They put out an impressive win in overtime.
Specifically,
Got
Caleb
the-
Williams,
yeah,
not the Bears.
Got the first recovered onside kick this season to come back and beat the Packers at home, and now they control their destiny. If they win, I believe we'll get into it in a little bit, but I think it's if they win this week. If they win this week, they're locked in, I believe, to the division and the 2 seed, which is really crucial for a place like Chicago. Is going to be a really big home field advantage in the playoffs. But I honestly, I went back a little bit ago and I watched that video that I had posted, and it was me just trashing the Bears. And boy, was I wrong. Like I said, their defense wasn't good, and they've proven me wrong. And I said their offense was terrible, and I had to eat my words because a couple weeks ago they came into our stadium and kicked us around with that offensive line. And I said, Caleb Williams, quite frankly, isn't that good. And boy, is he proving me wrong that in his second season, I don't know if it's Ben Johnson. I don't know if it's just he's got
it's 100% Ben Johnson.
But yeah, the Bears look pretty legit.
Yeah, they look good. I don't know if they're going to do much this year, and maybe a playoff win, maybe 2, but they definitely look pretty good. I'll say this. Caleb's looked pretty strong so far, and this has been a solid year too for him. I still need to see more before I go ahead and sit there and say, oh, he's one of the best quarterbacks, but he definitely has broken the bust mold. I'm known for being a tad early on my bust calls, and I definitely was going after Caleb, but again, I think context matters to some things that I say, and at the moment, we were talking. I mean, the Bears did not start off very strong at all. I mean, you look back at the record, the way they kind of began the season. They were not a very they were not a team that definitely looked like they were going to do much this year. They then reeled off after it was almost perfect, because as soon as they made that comment, they reeled off 9 consecutive victories, and they've just been dominating. Or at least they started off 0-2. They had the win against the Cowboys and the Raiders, and then they just kind of took off from there. Commanders, Saints. They've really been pretty strong. But I think Caleb is playing really well. I think a lot of that has to go to who their head coach is. Their head coach has kind of proven himself to be one of those generational offensive coordinators that makes the transition to head coach and looks like he has that offense churning. I know it's helped my fantasy team. Kyle Managai has been the draft pick of the decade for my fantasy team, but we'll see what the Chicago Bears do. Their defense is still a little suspect. They're solid, but they do bend to no break. Their offense is pretty good, but what happens when they go up against, I'm really just interested to see what happens when they go up against the Rams or the Seahawks, and, kind of see what happens there. I think they're a very solid team. I think they're right in that same tier with the Eagles, in terms of going into this playoff picture. And we'll see, can Caleb Williams keep this going? Can this team stay hot? And I'm really interested to see what they do next year. They're going to be a really fun team to look at next year. But we've said that about Bears teams before, and they didn't do much. But we'll see what this Bears team does.
Yeah. All right,
I'm not gonna give a full apology until Dennis comes on here and walks back half the UD stuff he says. So.
No, that's fair. That's fair. My next game, another wild ending in Detroit, in what could honestly potentially be like the breaking point of the Detroit Lions season.
Yeah. Oof.
Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed the Pittsburgh Steelers would go in there and do that?
Pittsburgh's a tough team. They can run the ball, and Kenny Gainwell may have cemented himself as one of the top 15 running backs in the league. He is unbelievable, and you kind of have to sit there and go, man, we had that on our roster. We were just taking this for granted. Now, no one's going to sit here and say, oh yeah, take Kenny Gainwell over Saquon. No one's going to say that, but couldn't find a way to bring him back. Man, he is so talented.
I mean, well, at this point, Tank Bigsby looked pretty nice.
I'm just saying. Tank
Bigsby looks good. We can talk about the Eagles in a second and how I wish they would.
Yeah, we will.
Kenny Gainwell wouldn't have fumbled that kickoff return. That's a good point. But the point being, Pittsburgh's a pretty solid team. I think Pittsburgh's proven to be a little bit better than what a lot of people thought they were.
And what they do in the playoffs is completely up to them and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers looks great, but I knew that a couple teams were going to hit some regression, and one of those teams that I thought was going to be Washington. I did not think Detroit would regress this much. They have a very good chance of not making the playoffs now. Yeah. I think they might be eliminated now. I don't necessarily know what that means for them, but man, that is shocking to me. Now I think Detroit's still a good team. Maybe they just need a retooling year to get back, but their offensive line has crumbled. They can't run the ball to save their life, and they need
that secondary is so depleted. Their
secondary is depleted. They can't stop the run. They can't run the ball. They just get worked up and down the field. And man, this is a far cry from the Detroit Lions we saw the last few seasons. Yeah.
Lions fans are in shambles. The next one I have, I got a couple. So Patriots, I don't know why, like the Ravens were favored because they were at home, I guess. But the Ravens, we've seen it now over the last few seasons. It's not so much that I want to be like, oh, the Patriots won, but like they have a real issue when it comes to like blowing leads late in the fourth quarter. And I want to know, like, get your thoughts. Is it like a player issue, or is it like, John Harbaugh like can't keep his guys together when they're winning? Like, is it a John Harbaugh issue, or are we going to potentially see him moved on from this offseason? Or is it like maybe the players just, we got to leave, we'll be all right. We got Lamar, and then,
I could make this clip really boring and just say it's a coaching issue, but I'm gonna spice it up a little bit for you. The fourth quarter of the Patriots game, Derrick Henry didn't play for the final 12 and a half minutes. What does that tell you? That's not a player issue. The right player isn't getting on the field. You brought in Derrick Henry to be the closer. It's almost like what the Dodgers did. The Dodgers went out and traded for Edwin Diaz. They brought him in to be the closer. They want someone to slam the door, give them the final 3 outs. Football's the same way. The Ravens went out and paid Derrick Henry to be their closer. And the biggest game of the year, their biggest game of the year to keep their playoff hopes alive, they didn't play him for the final 12 and a half minutes. That's inexcusable. That is inexcusable coaching. You see John Harbaugh sitting over there when Zay Flowers fumbles or when Mark Andrews fumbles, and he just sits there and he has this look on his face like,
yeah, like, what was that Mark Andrews play, by the way? Like,
I think either that was a brain fart. Also, they just handed him a contract extension, so this team is gonna be in shambles for.
If you guys could have seen my coworker on Monday, my coworker is like a big Ravens fan, like, and boy was I got a video of it, but it's not suitable for the content we post here on this podcast, to say the least. But he was freaking out. He was like, and Mark Andrews, we just extended you. He's like, this player's gone. This guy's gone. He's like, and Lamar, you suck. And he was losing his mind. And it's like, I feel your pain because I've been there as an Eagles fan, but we're not there anymore.
I think what happened was that was a play that he thought was going to be set up as a lateral play.
Yeah.
And there was just wasn't. It was a complete misunderstanding. But yeah, Ravens missed the playoffs. Is Harbaugh on the hot seat? I don't know. They've kind of been a little stagnant for a long time. Yeah. You built this team around Lamar, and now Lamar's 28 years old with multiple injuries. He's gotten leg injuries, he's gotten calf injuries, he's gotten back. Now he's got the back injury. Like, how much more of the leash are we going to give John Harbaugh? I kind of think that maybe it's time to shake things up and go out and find an offensive-minded coach. It seems to be the trend in the NFL, and try to win. Try to win now instead of just keeping the status quo.
Yeah, we got a big divisional matchup that happened last weekend. The Panthers beat the Buccaneers. Is it time to say the Panthers are legit, or well, not even legit? Are the Panthers like sneaky good? Or is it just Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers are dropping off so rapidly that it's just the Panthers division to lose? Because
Tampa Bay has kind of – I think they're still a good team. I think Tampa Bay is still a good team. I don't think – again, the Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl contender is not coming out of the NFC South. It's just not. So it's just to understand the standard of football that we're looking at. The NFC South is not going to be producing – a Super Bowl champion anytime soon. I think Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers are a good team. They're good for a playoff win, maybe 2. they're not a team that's going to truly contend for a championship. That being said, I would like to say this was a Panthers team that I kind of called being a sneaky hot team to go into the season. You can go and look at the draft charts or the draft summary or draft preview that I did for 302 Birds. That the Panthers were a team that I said is either going to be really, really fun in all the right ways or really, really fun in all the wrong ways. And they've proven to be a pretty interesting team. Is Bryce Young a great quarterback? I can't really say that right now. I think he's shown flashes, but if for every great game he has, he follows it up with a dud. That being said, this is a Panthers team that's kind of interesting. They're kind of compelling. Their defense ain't great on paper, but they're playing pretty solid. Their offense moves the ball up and down the field effectively and efficiently. I kind of look at the Panthers and I'm like, man, they're a fun team to watch. They're kind of this surprise team, but their peak, they're in a way, it's kind of like watching a basketball game and a team just can't miss any shots. And you're like, man, this team is just really playing well right now. How long is this going to last?
Panthers are the 4th seed, and that's legit.
The 4th seed is that legit?
In the Jets.
Is the 4th seed a legit spot when it just goes to the worst division winner? But that being said, like the Panthers are kind of a team that's on a hot streak right now. You have to wonder when that's going to come back down to earth, and probably will come back down to earth in the first round of the playoffs.
Dennis already got called out, so he's a little late to the party.
Dennis made a comment this week about Delaware. They won the 68 Ventures Mobile, Alabama Bowl. I had a privilege of working that game and didn't get home until 1:30 in the morning.
I bet Dennis never won a college bowl.
He never won a college bowl, but he made a comment. And he was like, "Oh, Delaware, they're celebrating these bowl games." It's like, dude, it's the first year in the big league. Like, what do you want to talk? Like, what are we talking
about?
Go Birds, Go Birds.
Well, we actually have another guest joining us.
Are we going to bring on? Oh,
a little surprise.
Then we got Jesse from the Philly Sports Pulse. Nice surprise for us.
Hey, hop on if you want, Dennis. Let's get a party in
Dennis
here,
just won the bowl, Dennis.
Oh my gosh.
But
yeah, man.
No, so the next game I wanted to get to. Well, you know what? Before I get to that one, we'll get to last night's game out of the way first. So I still don't think like the 49ers, they're good, but I don't think they're that good. Now, who I think is that good, even though I think they're going to miss the playoffs, is Phillip Rivers. Like at 44, my man has still got it.
Unfortunate.
Slinging it. But they're going to miss the playoffs, I believe. It's too little too late. The Texans are getting hot, and it's just rough. But I would like to say, Phillip Rivers, thank you for restoring my childhood for the last couple weeks. It's been amazing just to see him. Let's see. Dennis charges for his appearances. I'm going to cry because they said there. Be careful, Benny. May go tell his bosses.
We have
it's hilarious. Dennis talks about University of Delaware. A lot of the sponsors for these shows, they're around the University of Delaware.
University of Delaware, yeah, they are. University of Delaware.
How about you tell your boss there, Dennis? Dalton, right there, yeah.
Yeah, 5 more years of health insurance for the kiddos. Was that just a ploy by what Phillip Rivers said? Let's get the kids some health insurance. Let's get the grandkids some health insurance. Who knows? I
want them to inject the footage of him breaking down the 49ers defense on the fly like that directly into my veins. I don't even need to see what the play is. Just every pre-snap thing he was doing.
It was great.
I saw that too.
Phillip Rivers, his resurgence, Joe Flacco's resurgence, these 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers playing really well all year. These 40-year-old quarterbacks, they're going to stay in the league for a lot longer than I think people are going to realize because no other like Lamar Jackson's not doing that. I love Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts isn't doing that. You're not seeing these young quarterbacks. Not even like Tua doesn't do that. Joe Burrow kind of does it. Like these quarterbacks don't.
Oh snap!
No way.
And pick apart defenses like Phillip Rivers did. Oh God.
Dennis and Benny.
I can't stand this dude.
Nobody can stand you. I mean, you wanted to cry to your bosses when I said UD sucked on a fantasy show, Benny. So
that's not exactly what happened. I work for the University of Delaware, so I was more looking out for myself and my job.
They don't give a fuck about a podcast, dude.
They would give a fuck about me being on a podcast with a loser talking about university. Again, dude, like you want to sit there and talk about like, oh my God, you're going to your bosses, you're doing this, you're doing that. Like, that's a job. It's a job that I have. And if they see me on that podcast with someone running the school down, do you think that's a good idea? Like, do you have a brain in that head?
I mean,
Jesus,
if
dude.
you're that mad, I mean,
I'm not mad. It's just like,
well, apparently you're mad because you're over there
Hey.
raging.
So, I got something that we can all come together and agree on. Can we all take a
Dallas sucks?
second, please? There we go. Can we all take a second, please? And can we just laugh at the fact that those stinking, horrid, horrific cowgirl fans, if you listen quietly, you can hear the cockroaches scurrying back under the rocks. You can hear them scurrying to their little tunnels for the offseason, because with the Eagles win, and then caked on top of that with the Chargers going into Dallas and laying the boot down, the Dallas Cowboys are officially eliminated from the 2025 or 2026 NFL playoffs. So, goodbye, Dallas. Congrats. Dak is 4,000 yards passing. You didn't make the playoffs. You suck.
Benny, I think you're muted.
Oh, yeah, you are muted, Benny.
I apologize. What a weird year. Like,
Our defense is trash.
defense. Well, but is it? Because like towards the end, I saw some things with that defense with Quinnen Williams and kind of the additions they made, and it's not all the way bad. I think next year they're going to be a solid team, but it's just like, Jesus, what a weird year. And then on top of that, you have the player that unfortunately passed away. Just a brutal year, start to finish.
Jesus God, here we go. We're going to be sympathetic about somebody that was a coward and killed himself. Pleasant.
Okay, dude.
All right.
Get his ass. Again, Dalton. This is exactly why.
That's my fault.
You got to get.
That's not on Dalton. That's on me.
You got to get this guy off.
Yeah, no, that's my fault. That's my fault.
Whoa.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know we were. I didn't know he was just gonna join like that. That's my fault.
Coward.
What?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, to bring it back to football.
The last game I wanted to go over from this weekend was the Jaguars and the Broncos. What a game. And I would like to get, honestly, both you guys' thoughts, because I feel like this is fine. Like, I've been saying it for so long, and I would literally, for the last few shows, I would come on and I would just literally be like, you know what, I'm tired of saying it. Maybe the Broncos are legit. But you know what? You know the joy and satisfaction I got from seeing the Broncos get kicked around in their own stadium, their own home, by the Jacksonville Jaguars? I mean,
shocking.
It was beautiful. Benny, Jesse,
shocking.
what do you guys think?
I mean, honestly, like, can we all admit that Trevor Lawrence is a top 10, top 8 quarterback in this league?
No way.
He has had 3 straight games with at least 2 touchdowns. He's had let's see.
Whoa.
You got to go back to the mid-November part of the year, where he only threw about a touchdown. He's thrown over 200 yards for about a month. Now, especially granted, they don't have the offense, the staff that the Eagles do, but what he has with him, what he's got going for him, he's, in my book, easily top 10. And he's a huge reason why the Jaguars are doing what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
I can't put Trevor Lawrence there just yet. I think he's really good. I would put him 15 to 12. I gotta see this sustained through an entire season. And to start the year, I mean, things were not great. To make matters even worse, I'm pretty sure Brian Thomas is gone after this year. Brian Thomas has been a near non-factor, so much that they traded for Jacoby Myers. Now Jacoby Myers is a new wide receiver 1, and now Travis Hunter. What do you do with that? I think Trevor Lawrence has something. I definitely think he needed his confidence redone, or at least re-inspired to be the player that he's capable of being, the player that we all saw when he was playing at Clemson. They're a good team. Jacksonville's a sneaky good team. That was a wild win. Did not see that coming. on the flip side of that, I think this speaks to just kind of how the year's been. There's no dominant elite team right now. This is the widest open the NFL's ever been, which means that these playoffs are going to be crazy. Denver's getting beat by Jacksonville. The Patriots, I mean, it's great when they can play the Titans and the Browns of the world each week, but like what's going to happen when the Patriots have to go and play a really good dominant team that's been there? What's going to happen when they have to go play the Steelers? The Steelers are an experienced playoff team. That's going to be an interesting matchup to me. What's going to happen when they have to go and play the Texans are a dangerous team to me. The Texans defense is crazy. So, this Denver Jacksonville game, what a shocker. Is Trevor Lawrence legitimate? I can't say that yet. I can't put him at 8. I can't put him at 8 just yet. I can put him at 12 or 11. But I need to see this a little bit more. And honestly, with Trevor, I need to see him do something a little more in the playoffs. He's had that one comeback win over the Chargers, but he's also had some flops before. So I just want to see a little more consistency out of Lawrence before I'm going to put him top 10. That's, Jesse, I appreciate it. That's crazy to put him that high.
Well, Benny, you bring up a good point. This year we really haven't had a dominant team, and I forget who it was, but Joey Mooner, I feel like I'm going to steal your segment. I'm going to bring up, and I know we don't have a graphic for this, Jesse's question of the episode. Because I saw, I forget who it was, but somebody said because there is no dominant team in the league, there's no Chiefs, there's no Eagles going on a fantastic run like they did last year. This year, I mean, lately they've been pretty good. There was, I forget what, it might have been some schmuck with ESPN. They said that this year has been boring because there hasn't been a runaway team. They're not scared of teams like the Patriots, like the Rams, like the Seahawks, like they were with the Patriots, the Patriots, the dynasty Patriots, the dynasty Chiefs. Although at this point, I don't know if you can put dynasty and Chiefs in the same sentence. I mean, from a few years ago you could. But yet, what do you guys think about this year in general? Fun year, exciting year, or boring?
I think this has been one of the best years of football ever. One of the best, and even at the college level, this has been one of the best years for just the game of football together. Because, I mean, you're getting a little bit of a taste of the future, you're getting a taste of the now, and you're getting a taste of the past. Like, you're getting to see these old veteran quarterbacks come out there and watching Joe Flacco dice up a defense a week on the job in Cincinnati was unbelievable. Then you get to watch Aaron Rodgers do it week 1 against his former team, the Jets. He was just carving up the Jets defense left and right. And now you see it with Phillip Rivers, was on his couch for 5 years. For 5 years, he was a high school football guy. He was done. He was going to be on the Hall of Fame ballot this spring. And he gets up, puts on the flak jacket and just almost beats the Seahawks. And then almost, is carving up the 49ers on Monday Night Football. Like, that's unbelievable. And then you're going to see some rookies in the future. I mean, there's some pretty solid guys right now. Tyler Shuck's been better than advertised. I think Cam Ward has it. He just needs a better supporting cast. You're going to see some kids come out of college this upcoming draft that are going to be pretty impressive. Dalton, if you want to do that draft preview again, I'm excited for that. And I can't wait to do it with Joey and the guys.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
That was a lot of fun. I can't wait
Definitely
to do that.
Looking forward to that.
I just up and down the board, you're seeing different styles of football too. You're seeing teams that can spread it out. You're seeing teams that can do a little run and gun. You're seeing teams that just play power football. And all of them are having different variations of success. This has been, in my opinion, if you're a hardcore football fan, this has been awesome. Yeah. The only thing that hasn't been fun is they need to go back to the old kickoff, because seeing teams start at the 30 and then just 2 completions, now you're kicking a field goal. We can move it back. We can go back to you get the ball at the 20, 25.
Yeah, that's a solid point there. But we're gonna get this ball rolling a little bit. We're going to be looking at the Week 17 preview up next.
So I'm just gonna go over the games, and then we'll dive into the playoff implications and stuff, because I have those written down. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I excluded every Christmas game from my list because they all suck, and because Because, like, look, I get it. When the season started, so, like, as of last year, yes, the Vikings-Lions was going to be a great game. The the Broncos and the Chiefs would have been a great game. And the Commanders and the Cowboys, like, all three of them, they would have been great games. But all of those teams, except the Broncos, have severely underperformed this year, so it's going to be miserable Christmas. Spend time with your family. Don't watch football. Okay. Because Saturday, the heaters come on. So Saturday, the first game at 4:30 is the Texans at the Chargers, big playoff implication game. Then Saturday night should have been a little bit like this is another one where it was like probably before the season hyped up to be a little bit of a better game. Ravens at the Packers, still a little bit of playoff implications for both teams in this scenario. And then Sunday at 1:00, Jags at Colts, big divisional matchup, big playoff matchup potentially. Well. I'm a horrible host for this. I'm not. Are the Colts eliminated yet, or like do they?
No,
still
they have to win out.
Yeah.
They need the Texans to lose out.
Okay, so
They have literally, I think, a legitimately a 2% chance.
Yeah,
So they
that's
got
spot
a
on.
chance
Spot
still.
on.
There's still a little bit of life there. Maybe Phillip Rivers can go on an insane run. Who knows? But then also at 1:00 on Sunday, Seahawks Panthers
Good game.
could be. Could be a potential playoff matchup. And
Were you about to say Super Bowl matchup?
yes, but they're
Don't
the
call
same.
don't
they're
call
the
out,
same.
Jesse.
It's because
Come
I
on.
sneezed, Jesse. It messed my brain up. But no, the Seahawks and the Panthers potential big NFC playoff matchup. I'm kind of interested to see how that one goes, just because of how the Carolina Panthers played the Rams earlier in the year and they were able to beat them. The Panthers have held their own against some good teams, so it's going to be very interesting to see. And then lastly, Sunday Night Football, Bears-Niners. And we're rooting for the 49ers as much as we don't like them. But we'll dive into the playoff like implications and stuff. So the Broncos, which we're not really highlighting that game, but if they win, they need a lot to happen. So if they win and the Chargers lose, they take their division.
Yep.
That's the AFC West. If they win, and then the Chargers, the Patriots, the Bills, the Jaguars lose, they're the 1 seed in the AFC. So they need a lot to happen to become the 1 seed this week, but they just need a win and a Chargers loss to win their division. I believe they do still play the Chargers one more time, I believe. And then let's see, next you've got the Texans. If the Texans win, they're in. Or if Indianapolis loses, they're in. Or if neither of those things happen, if they lose and Indianapolis wins somehow, they need Kansas City, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, the Rams, and San Francisco to win to get in. So best case scenario for the Texans is just win and you're in.
Yeah.
And then Jacksonville, if they win and the Texans lose, they win the division. They take home the AFC South.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. I had that right. And then New England, if they win if they win and the Eagles beat the Bills, they win the NFC or the AFC East. And then if Pittsburgh wins or if Baltimore loses, they win the North. And now the NFC, if Carolina wins, Tampa Bay loses, they win in the South. But it's most likely that next week in Week 18, we'll talk about that next week, of course, Panthers-Bucks is going to come down to the division game at the very end of the year. If Chicago wins or Green Bay loses, Chicago wins or Green Bay loses, they win the division, and they become the 2 seed, and they'll probably be locked into that 2 seed. So it'll be very hard for the Eagles to move up. So that's why I said we're rooting for the 49ers. We need the 49ers to win, knock the Bears down to 11-5. And then we need them to lose again so we can sneak into that 2 seed. But if Green Bay wins or Detroit loses, Green Bay's in. And then if Seattle wins and then the Rams and San Francisco both lose, then the Seattle Seahawks will be the 1 seed, I believe, and the NFC West. And then currently, as it stands right now, in the AFC, the Broncos are 1. Then New England is 2. Jacksonville is 3. Pittsburgh is 4. Los Angeles Chargers are 5. Buffalo Bills are 6. And Houston Texans are 7. So that would be your playoff matchups. Wildcard weekend for the AFC would be New England hosting Houston, Jacksonville hosting Buffalo, and Pittsburgh hosting the Chargers. Those would be some really good games.
I think there's some upsets in there too.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm a little disappointed. You're not talking about the biggest game for the future of the NFL right now, which is Giants Raiders.
I know, right?
Oh,
It's gonna be a snooze fest. Honestly,
you know what that sounds like to me? Tag ball.
Yeah. In my opinion, I think the Giants are gonna walk away. I think like Jackson Dart's gonna have a really good game and walk away with that.
Oh, if I was the Giants head coach, I'd be calling quarterback kneels every play. You don't want to win. You want that first overall pick. Just like at this point, if I was a fan of any NFL team and like you're at this point of the season where like you're just terrible, you're just bad. Lose.
Yeah.
Root for them to lose. You don't want them to win. You want to get that first overall pick. What does a win give you? Oh, great. Now you're going to be further away from the Giants need the first overall pick and let a team trade with you and get all their picks and move back, collect assets.
Yeah.
That entire roster is just stinky from top to bottom.
Yeah.
And some team out there,
rebuild around Jackson Dart and Scatterville if he comes back.
Yeah, you can do that. Scatterville, I think Wan'Dale Robinson's not bad. You have neighbors.
Oh, Wan'Dale's pretty strong.
And then you got Abdul Carter on the defense. So
and don't forget, Dexter.
If they use him, I don't know what they're doing with
their D line is a little scary, but
a little sketchy. But like. Let some team go up and trade for Fernando Mendoza and just suck up all their assets and rebuild. I think it's the Jets. I think the Jets want Mendoza, which
New York's going to ruin it.
Either way, I think it'll be an entertaining game. Yeah, I mean, you just forget the playoff implications because they're not there. If you can shut that out of your mind, I feel like it'll be a pretty nice game to sit down and watch. Yeah.
But in the NFC, currently it is Seahawks 1, Bears 2, Eagles 3, Panthers 4, Rams 5, 49ers 6, Green Bay 7. Now, the only thing that could really change in the AN and in the NFC is if, like, say Green Bay wins out, I believe, they'll be 11-5-1. And then if the Bears lose out, I believe they would be they'd be 11-6, so they would lose the division, but I still think they would be the 7 seed. And then the Eagles, they're locked in; they can't go any lower than 3 unless they lose out magically. And I think the Panthers have to win out, but I don't see that happening based on their matchup this week. Panthers are 4 right now. That's pretty much the only one that's like subject to change if they were to fall this week and next week. But I kind of hard-pressed to see that completely happen. San Francisco, Rams, both in the playoffs, so they're locked in. Green Bay is hanging on. I think if they win this week, and if the Lions lose this week, I think they're officially eliminated, and that's pretty much the last team hanging on for contention. So NFC is almost set. But right now, as it stands, what I wanted to talk about, what I know you guys want to talk about, throw the notebook away. The only team right now in the NFL to clinch a division, the Philadelphia Eagles. And shout out to Joe Giglio in 94 WIP because he brought up an interesting point on Monday when I was listening. Right now, currently, the Eagles are the only team that won their division last year that is currently winning their division this year. So
wow. I didn't even
every other team in the NFL,
not a single back-to-back,
but the Eagles so far. Now, if the Buccaneers win their division, they'll be back-to-back. And then I think it's if the Lions can't win their division. So if I think it was like if
they
the
can. Oh wow, that's right. Oh my god.
Yeah. So it's crazy. Now, obviously, we all saw the game on Saturday. Of course, it started out slower than we have liked. Jake Elliott's got a lot to clean up. But
man, what a time. Yeah.
Overall, in the second half, I saw a lot of positive things. So we'll start with you, Jesse. Just give us your overall thoughts from this game Saturday, and then kind of give us your overall thoughts for this game previewing for the Bills.
Yeah. That was really, really fantastic stuff. And I think you have to shout out 2 things. One, Saquon Barkley. He's definitely Over these last two games, now granted, yes, it's the Raiders and Washington, and the Chargers before that. Although the Chargers are really good, I've seen some stuff. I've seen some maturity out of Saquon Barkley the last few games. He's definitely taken a step up with the loss of Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson due to injuries. I feel like that's a big reason why he hasn't been as effective this year. But these last few games, he's really figured it out. He figured it out against a pretty tough run defense from the Chargers, and then granted, the Washington defense is the run defense there is one of the worst in the league. But in the end, near the end of that second half, that was vintage Saquon Barkley, and that's how you won the majority of your games in 2024. You relied on the run to set up the pass, and that's exactly what they did, and that's exactly how you're going to beat the Bills. They're going to be a tough team. They're going to be a very tough team, but it's a good test, and I think it's a test that they will beat because we saw how they started out the year. They beat these really good teams. They beat Kansas City. They beat the Rams. They beat the Cowboys when they were doing good.
So what do you think about what do you think of what Todd said here? He said, "Are you very confident the Eagles can beat the Bills? Do you think it'll be a close game?" He's a Commanders fan, and he hopes we beat Dallas they beat Dallas on Christmas. So you know what, Todd. For you, I hope the Commanders beat Dallas too, because Dallas sucks.
Why do you want to win? You're just gonna ruin your draft pick.
Yeah, but you know what? For the sake of saying we beat Dallas, I can get down with it.
Sure, but Sam, I appreciate it. I never root for Dallas to win, but yeah. I think for the sake of the future of your franchise, you guys probably would prefer to take that draft pick a little bit.
In terms of fair, Washington always, besides Jaden Daniels, whenever they hit on a decent draft pick, the Dan Snyder days, I don't think I could name one draft pick that they hit on. So
what do you mean RG3 was a dog, dude? Who's a dog?
RG3 was good. Kirk Cousins ended up being pretty solid. Krosky Merritt looks pretty promising.
McLaurin's good. I don't know when they got McLaurin, like what round, but he's good.
I think he was correct me wrong, it might have been a third rounder.
And then
I was thinking third round, yeah.
The kid Mikey Sainstrel too.
Good
defensive
back.
Yeah. I know a big thing with them too is their defensive line. Like they used to have Montez Sweat. Chase Young when he played for him was good. Now he's fallen off a cliff since. But they had a few good draft picks. But Benny, what are your thoughts just coming off of a win in Washington on Saturday, winning the NFC East first time in 21 years, and as well as just going into this Bills game? What do you kind of expect to see from the Eagles?
Sure. And then winning the NFC East now puts them in a position to do something I don't think it's ever happened in the division, which is someone wins it 3 times in a row. Or at least that dating back to probably go back to the 90s if the NFC East was even a thing then. I was happy to see them get a win. I was happy, I think, as Jesse said, in the second half to see them do some good things down the stretch. And again, something that I've really wanted to see is just slam the door shut. I think to me, that's the biggest thing is like when you have a win, Jalen Hurts always talks about like the main thing, winning the game. And I subscribe to that too. At the end of the day, we can sit here and talk about stats. We can sit here and talk about quarterbacks breaking down defenses and how much I love that. But all that stuff doesn't mean anything when you lose, and if you're, it's great that a quarterback's sitting there carving up defenses, but if you lose, you lost. And that's not the objective. The objective is to win. So Jalen Hurts is a great winner, but for all of that winning he does, there are moments where we just don't quite slam the door shut or put that final nail in the coffin or the final, get the final door, the final moment to close the game out, that final pitch. And you saw it against the Washington Commanders. Nice long drives, methodic drives. The running game got established a little bit. I think these games against the Raiders and Commanders are good to build the confidence for the Eagles going into a game like Buffalo, where you'd like to win this game. I think Buffalo is just a little bit more desperate. it's going to be a good game. I mean, this is going to be a really good Week 17 game late in the season between two teams that kind of need this win. I mean, Buffalo needs this win just to kind of keep their hopes alive to win their division, and obviously improve their playoff standing. And then for the Eagles, you don't want to be the 3 seed because then you have to welcome the 49ers here to Philly. And I don't know, the last time the 49ers were here, I just had a bad taste in my mouth. I think the Eagles can beat anyone they're lined up across from if they play a clean game. I just, I'd like to see them do it. I think if there's a good matchup for them to really keep this running game, on beat, it's against one of the worst running defenses in the league in the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I agree with you there on that 49ers take.
They fared it. Yeah. Mooney, what do you think? What was your initial reaction here to Saturday, and how do you think we're going to fare against the Bills?
I mean, that's tough. I mean, it's going to be a close match either way, and I've been kind of saying it all year long. It depends on which Eagles team shows up, because I truly believe that we have more talent than any other team in the NFL. And if we're going talent for talent, that they beat every single team. So it depends on how they show up. It depends on how prepared they are. I think there is a realistic chance that we go out there and we get embarrassed. And there's also an equally an equal chance of us going out there and embarrassing them. So, I mean, of course, the Eagles team, through its, tough times, with Jalen Hurts and a lot of the team players we have, they're pretty solid at preparing for big games. I know we didn't see that for, the Bears. But I think if we're going up against the Bills at all, I mean, when we do, it's more of that's more of kind of a wake-up game. That's something we got to be prepared for, something we're going to be prepared for. So
it's a good playoff game before the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a playoff
preview.
Yeah, possibly a Super Bowl preview. So yeah, I think of course it's going to be a good game. I don't have a lot of confidence in the Birds. We've been having some trouble with our staff, it seems. Locker room issues, possibly. I mean, we've been talking about all season what it could be. Yeah. It's anybody's game, really. It just depends on our preparation. I'm very nervous. Very nervous.
Yeah. Well, so I'll start off with this. So Sunday, I was over here with Mooner, and he was like, "Man, I watched that game last night, and it sucked. Eagles suck." I was like, no, buddy. Listen. What I watched last night was what I like to call a 2024 Eagles victory, okay? Because, yes, it started off rough. And if you remember last year, we had shout out to a former great friend of 302 Birds, Eric Shard, dude. I remember every week it'd be in the group chat like, dude, can we just score a touchdown in the first quarter, please? And we couldn't. Like, for the life of us, the Eagles could not get anything going in the first quarter, maybe like second quarter. Like, it would take a while. And I know there was a few games last year we were down at half. Yep. But that second quarter, or the late second quarter, third quarter, they just turned on it just clicked. And this team becomes so different. We even saw it this year early in the year against the Rams in that comeback win. And the biggest thing that stuck out to me is watching the Eagles and then watching the other teams this weekend. The Eagles, the Steelers, like teams like that, they all decided, you know what? We're going to run the football. We're not going to be stopped, and we're really going to commit to running the ball. And that is what opens up this Eagles offense so well. I understand offensive line has been banged up all year, and we've been saying it all year. But Saquon Barkley on that 12-yard touchdown run showed me like the uttermost, like, I want it more than you do. I am going to fight you like until I die. Like, that is the type of run he had, and that, clear as day, his best run all year. Is that 12-yard touchdown run where he just fights through. It was like 3 or 4 guys. That is the type of mentality this team needs to have going the rest of the way. Because as I laid out the playoff picture for us a little bit ago, there's not a team in that NFC that like I can really point at and go, this team scares me.
Yeah.
Now, there's
Seattle.
places, there's places that scare me. Seattle, that scares me just because the Eagles have never had success up there. And you know what? As much as I love Jalen Hurts, as much as I'm a Jalen Hurts like supporter through and through, you put him in that playoff atmosphere. Eagles fans travel well, they do. But Seattle fans are crazy. Seattle fans know how to make some noise. They don't call it the 12th man for nothing. Like, that is a playoff place I don't want to have to play.
Yeah.
But luckily for us, Seattle also has Sam Darnold, and I'm not bought in. So I think that's a little bit like that's why I think getting the number 2 seed also is really important, because I think we can kind of see what we saw last year where the 1 seed gets knocked out in the divisional round. Especially if it's Seattle, because we saw last year against Minnesota, against the Rams, he had no answers. So in a high stakes game, I don't trust Sam Darnold. And quite frankly, I think the Rams are our biggest threat. And if we're the 2 seed and they're the 7 seed, hey, let's get them out the way now. Get them out of the way. And yeah, the 49ers are good, but I think they have some injuries that we could exploit. Their run defense hasn't been great either. Like, it's kind of setting up perfectly. Like, I've heard it, like, again, referencing, like, I love listening to sports radio, and some, like, 95% of the things they say are, like, just asinine takes. But the other 5% are like, okay, you guys might know a little bit of what you're talking about. And another thing that they were saying on Monday was pretty much through all the shows was the best teams in December and January going to February are the teams that really run the football well. And that is something that this Philadelphia Eagles team can do very well.
They should go for it. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's going to help. Lane Johnson's coming back. That is going to be a tremendous help. Now, is Tyler Steen still – I'll give it to him. Took on 6 Commanders. And
dude, he's got that dog in him, bro.
But maybe that turns the season around. Maybe it does. But now, as far as this week goes, I would be cautious bringing him back, at least, like Lane Johnson, just because the weather and all that. Like, I would be cautious. It's a foot injury. Like, it's not supposed to be nice weather at all. It's Buffalo cold. So if you can, don't play him. Fred Johnson has been outstanding. So I would just let him do his thing. Let Fred Johnson keep his confidence in case something, God forbid.
The bigger player is Jalen Carter. If
exactly.
Jalen Carter's on that field, that tips the scales in favor of
if Jalen Carter can come back this weekend, that, like, his is a shoulder injury, so that, like, I'm not looking at
both.
Like
it's 2.
Yeah, it's both shoulders, but that it's like, all right, that doesn't really affect your footwork. That I can live with. You know what? This will be a good game for him to be like, okay, I can bounce back. And next week, no, you don't have to play, because if we win this week and say Chicago loses, I still wouldn't even start anybody next week. But I really think the Eagles just need to focus on winning this week, run the football, continue to do that well. And Jalen Hurts, dude, I think that 5 interception game just woke something up in it. It was like for as bad as he was in that game, for the 5 turnovers he had, he found something to, like, you know what? I'm not as bad as I think I am at this, or I'm not as bad as people say I am at this. Because his last 2 games, yes, it's the Raiders, yes, it's the Commanders. But his last 2 games, he has played, like, the plays he's needed to make, he has made. And that, nothing bigger than that touchdown to Dallas Goedert. That was beautiful. Beautiful. A 3rd and 15, you're backed up, you're down 3, your kicker's struggling, and instead of like Jalen Hurts earlier in the season would have probably either tried to run for like 2 yards or gotten sacked. And he stepped up, slid, and just right where Dallas Goedert could get it and nobody else, and Dallas made a beautiful catch. So I think the Birds, I really do. I think they could go in there, and I think they could hang and be with the Bills, because I hate to say it, but the Bills last week, it was 23-20 against the Browns. So the Bills, like, they're struggling a little bit on their own.
You're not a Shedeur believer?
No, not yet. It needs some more time. But something that's also floated under the radar this year is just the Eagles' cornerback play. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, absolute studs, dude. And the Bills not really having any, like, real wide receiver ones. I feel like that plays into our favor a lot. I mean, James Cook is a dog as a running back, and we saw how Jahmyr Gibbs was able to grind it up against us. But I really think with like the lack of the wide receiver one position in Buffalo, it's just going to be hard for them to sustain it, especially if Nakobe Dean is okay and he's back, because Nakobe Dean out of the backfield covering a running back is like
Dude, the dog. He's a dog.
it's so unfair for the running back because it's like he's good. He's so good, and I just really think the Eagles are going to win this week, and I think it's going to be a convincing win. I think it'll almost be like, I know we referenced that Baltimore game last year as like kind of the tipping turning point. This Buffalo game could really be our final tipping and turning point. However, I really think it'll be that Chargers game when it's all said and done. If not saying they are going to, but if they make a good run and they, I don't know, fall short in the NFC Championship, win the Super Bowl, who knows? But I really think we're going to end up looking back at that Chargers game going, you know what? Even though they lost, even though it looked ugly, they figured a lot of stuff out.
Yeah.
I think it was the Bears game. I think getting smacked in your own mouth.
Getting smacked around at their own house, yeah.
Yeah, just like getting bullied by the Bears was a wake up call. Because if during the Chargers game, I did notice a lot of different things they were doing. They were running under center a lot. They were utilizing more intricate routes during the Chargers game, and really the route tree has grown since then, which has been so rewarding than them just running, hook routes and flat routes and flag routes. And, you're starting to see more slants for AJ, which I think is great. But yeah, no, I anytime you turn the ball over that much, I think that was like the, oh boy, game. We're like, we really gotta put the pedal to the metal.
This is how bad it can be, game.
This is how bad it can be. And this has been what the defense has been covering up all year.
Yeah.
But now you're starting to see them get into a bit of a rhythm. I just have to say this. I think a lot of people are neglecting that this has been one of the most brutal schedules the Eagles have ever had, or any defending Super Bowl champions had. I mean, like, you're looking at, like, here's the teams they've lost to. Now, I'm going to throw the 2 division games out because those are division games. They're coin flips. I don't care what those teams are. Going into a division game, it's a division game. You lose to the Broncos, you lost to the Bears, and you lost to the Chargers. Obviously, you lost to the Cowboys, who are a fringe playoff team, but, like, those are 3 playoff teams, not just 3 playoff teams. Those are 3 pretty solid playoff teams, like teams that are already probably pretty much locked into their spots right now. Yeah. So I don't think there's any shame in losing games to those types of teams. Yeah. There's certainly games you want to win. You want to win every game, but at the end of the day, the Eagles have beaten teams they were supposed to beat. They've lost to some pretty solid teams. You split the division games, and you just hope that gets you where you need to be. And the Eagles, are there. They're there. This game against Buffalo is going to be tough, but any game against Buffalo is tough. Buffalo's a good team. Another playoff team the Eagles are facing this year.
It's definitely going to be a proving game. I mean, no matter if they go out there and lose, I think Philadelphia is going to be like, it's over. And if they go out there and win, then I think we're going to have Philadelphia going, hey, we're going all the way.
Maybe Mooner is on the naughty list, KJ. Maybe he is. I think it's because he didn't like the Eagles win last week. Look, it wasn't enough points for him, I guess.
No, it wasn't points. It was performance. Like the points didn't show just how frustrating of a game that was to sit through. And that was the point I was trying to convey to him. And he was like, "Come on, man!" And for the record,
go Birds.
I don't want to say I told you so, but I had a few spot on takes last week. I said the Eagles are going to win 28-17. It was 29-18. I said Dallas Goedert was going to get a touchdown. I said Jalen Hurts is going to go out there and he's not going to have a big throwing game. It's going to be maybe about 200 yards, and it was 185. I was wrong about Saquon. I thought he was going to top out at 95 yards, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it was just performance-wise. I think, especially the way the special teams performed in the first half, I was just trying to convey that it was a frustrating game. Hmm. But make sure you check your list twice, KJ, because I swear I'm not on there.
Well, guys, that's pretty much all we got tonight. So really quickly, just want to give a shout out to Benny. I want to thank Jesse, both you guys, for coming on tonight.
Thank you guys so much.
Just get kind of real with you guys, all of you watching us. We want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. don't really know how to address it. So we just want to leave just a general. Our hearts do go out to
Oh my gosh,
everything that happened today in Delaware, and just
a trooper.
Yes, it's an officer of the law at the end of the day. It's another human being. It's Christmas time. But that's where we're going to leave it at. Wish you guys a Merry Christmas. Spend as much time with your family as you can, because every day is like it. Tomorrow's not promised, as they say. So we don't want to get too deep with you guys, but we love all the support and everything we get from you guys. And stick around, actually, because I don't know when, but within the next probably like 10, 15 minutes ago or so, 302 Birds main show, they're going to go live tonight, because tomorrow is Christmas Eve. And like I said, we want to spend time with our families, want to enjoy, the company and the good friends and fellowship that we have. So we just thank you all for watching. Love you guys. And Merry Christmas, guys.
All right, Merry Christmas.
This is for you.
Gets it.